Hello, welcome to another video. We're going to look at the barbell hip thrust and how to set it up and some of the things to be aware of so that you get the most out of the exercise. So firstly, you're going to need, if you're doing this on your own, I'm using a little hip thruster bench, so it's actually a specific piece of equipment designed for this exercise, but I could easily use one of the benches in the back that you can see just behind me here. So I could easily use that if I don't have one. All right. Now also you're going to need some little raisers to have the bar elevated a bit so you can get underneath it, because it is a bit of mucking around to set it up, but it's well worth it because it keeps the exercise safe so that you can apply quite large loads with no danger of injuring yourself. So once you get under the bar, then you've got to wiggle yourself in and make sure that you can't really see it here, but as clearly, but there's a little pad that I have on the bar, so you can kind of see it there. All right, you want to have some sort of padding that makes the bar less painful on your hip. Now once you wiggle up on the backrest there, you can see where my shoulder blades are just above it, so I want the rest of the bench. So if I'm using the bench, it's the bench, or in this case it's the pad. I want my just above my shoulder blades, so it gives me good leverage, but also protects me from overarching my back. So especially for those who have trouble with their back on this. All right. So, and then very simply, all you need to do is just push the bar straight upwards. Now the feet position. Now you can see my feet are just a little bit off the board here. What that tends to do is bring in a little bit more quadriceps into it. So if I didn't want that, I would just maybe extend my feet a bit away from it, so then it would bring in more hamstring. All right, so basically the further away my feet are, so if they're over here, the less quads that are going to get involved and more hamstring. The closer my feet get towards me, the more quads I'm going to get. All right, but as a rule of thumb, you probably want to be 90 degrees. So I probably should have been a little bit further forward, but just for the sake of the video, you just get the idea of how it works. That's what you want to do, right? So you lower down to a comfortable position, then you come up, making sure that you don't overextend your back. This is the beauty of setting yourself up in the right place to begin with, because this is so close to where the bar is, it really shortens the lever. So I lose that ability to hyperextend because of the position I've set up in. All right. So if I was wiggled down a bit further, so say my head was here, there is an opportunity that I could overextend into my back, and then that leads into trouble. All right. So that's probably the one mistake I see the most, and that along with the feet position. All right. So, but this is quite a great way to build some tremendous strength into the glutes. It complements the other exercises like deadlifts and squats and one-leg deadlifts, lunges. All of those other exercises are great. The main disadvantage of those is that the quadriceps and hamstrings and other muscles are quite involved as well, so they can diminish the workload of the glutes. The advantage of this is it really just focuses predominantly on the glutes with only a minor help from the hamstrings and quads. So they really can't do much because they really need the knee to extend out for them to contribute more work. All right, so this is a great way to work safely with high loads and really build tremendous strength into getting it right. Now, you can actually use resistance bands on this as well if you've got one of these hip thruster machines, which I'll show you now. So for those people who don't like the barbell, we could easily use one of these machines, which is the same piece of equipment I was on, but I'm just using the resistance bands instead. And so you can see it quite clearly there with Mel. It's in the same position as where I had the barbell, and I've also got a pad on it as well, but the resistance bands are just not quite as aggressive. All right, so just allows you to, again, add some quite heavy resistance, but without the awkwardness and the uncomfortable nature, because some people just can't get comfortable with the barbell. So this is a great alternative, and you could do both. You could add the resistance bands and the barbell, which I do for some people who are quite strong. Right, so it's sort of a different way to, instead of loading up heaps of plates on the bar. But again, you can see where the feet position, again, it's you want to get that nice 90-degree sort of feeling, and you can see how the bands, the tension on it, again, probably stops the person from overextending and hyperextending their back. All right, so great exercise, one that I probably underrated for a long time. I didn't really see the true benefit of it, but especially when working with people with glute and hip and knee problems, and it's a great way to really build some foundation strength that can help you approach the more difficult standing exercises that really bring on the pain a little bit more easily and safely and with less risk, and they can gain more control over those, and it basically complements it really well. And for those who don't have injury and pain, it's another addition to your toolkit that can build tremendous strength. You can really load up this one quite big, and really target an area that for most people can get quite lazy with. All right, so that's how you do the barbell and all the resistance band hip thrust. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. See you on our next video.